Clovercrest Media Group presents a CMG podcast. Keys to the City.
Keys to the city, baby. When you see us, so you know.
Crossed up by Kobe, little floater to Shaq, and then Shaq goes like this, and the rest is history. Pay attention. Don't tell me what to do, devil woman.
But
Speaking of those Lakers,
But I hold on. But I didn't make my.
I didn't make. I said Denver's gonna win.
Yeah, you did. You said that.
There's no other show like that. Clovercrest is doing great things right now.
Streaming everywhere.
Rocky Hill Accountants offers a unique, low-pressure approach to professional and personal services, which is why they have an excellent client retention rate and are extremely proud of the high-quality services that their firm provides. The executive team at Rocky Hill Accountants has over 35 years of combined experience in income tax preparation, bookkeeping, accounting, and IT crypto tax. They specialize in individual income tax preparation, as well as trusts, estates, and gift tax returns. The tax deadline for individuals is May 17th. If you're one of the 50 million Americans who still hasn't filed, visit RockyHillAccountants.com.
Manning lobs it. Burris alone. Touchdown, New York. It's off to Leonard. Defended by Simmons. Is this the dagger?
High fly ball, right field. Grossman back, track, wall, see ya, into the second deck. A grand slam the other way for Aaron Judge, and the Yankees are pouring it on.
For the latest news throughout the sports world, tune in to Sports Talk with R&J every Wednesday at 1 p.m.
Welcome to Sports Talk with R&J. I am Steve Risser along here with Justin D'Onofrio. And last night, the Lakers pretty much saved their chances of playing in the play-in tournament. I mean, they were down 10 points with 7.5 to go. They were down 5 points with 5 minutes to go, but they were able to win that game down late in the game. Wesley Matthews gets that rebound, gets the dunk, and then they get that 3-pointer in overtime, and it was by Tucker Thornton, and they end up beating the Knicks 101-99. A great game last night. Anthony Davis had 20 points. Kuzma had 23. Julius Randle and Derrick Rose carried the Knicks. Derrick Rose with 27, and Anthony Davis with Derrick Rose with 27, and then Julius Randle with 31. So I mean, a great game, but it was a very significant game for both teams. Because if you look at the Lakers right now, they're still in position to get that number 6 seed. I mean, if they can win out, and if they can win out, and the Blazers lose to the Jazz and Portland, they'll get that number 6 seed. And for the Knicks, right now they have the number 6 seed in the Eastern Conference. So because right now the Hawks are the 4, the Heat are the 5, and the Knicks are the 6. So it was a big game. It was a game that it was a really big game for both teams, and the Lakers ended up pulling it out. And they're getting LeBron back tomorrow, so that's really big for them. I think there's a chance the Lakers go 5-0. There's a chance right now. I know I wrote an article saying they were going to probably play in the play-in tournament, but there's a chance, seeing who the Blazers have with going to Phoenix and Utah back to back. There's a chance that the Lakers could get the number 6 seed.
Absolutely. They pulled out a gutsy one last night. They lost a couple, Caruso early on in that game. Drummond had a huge second half. Kuzma looked like kind of the guy we saw the first 2 years when he was coming into the league. But yeah, it was a defensive battle. And for the Knicks, it's tough to kind of end a season here on a road trip. And I think 6-game road trip towards the end of the year wasn't the best timing here because again, besides Rosen and Randall, the rest of the team had 41 points, and nobody could shoot besides those two. It's kind of a missed opportunity, I feel like, for the Knicks. They didn't have LeBron. You needed that game after the Celtics just lost earlier on in the night. So,
I mean, they won't be in the play-in. The Celtics aren't winning 3 in a row, and the Knicks aren't losing 3 in a row. So the Knicks are going to get into the top 6. That's the thing. The question is will the Knicks be the 4 or the 5 seed? Could they avoid playing the Nets or the Nets or the Bucks in the first round, which is big. Even not playing the Heat in the first round is big too. I would love to have them have that matchup against the Hawks.
Yeah, because the Hawks. Well, I know Young's coming back and should be, but the Heat. I know we'll talk about that game in a minute, but the Heat have been on fire. So the team you definitely want to avoid right now. Yeah, the Knicks are going to stay in that playing game, but you want to stay away from that kind of that 60 because now you're going to have to face the Bucks, and that's not going to be an easy matchup. Yeah, you kind of wanted that 4-5 match. I know the Heat are up there and playing well, but you kind of want to avoid one of those the three big teams out there in the Eastern Conference in round one.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. And looking at the Knicks schedule, look at their remaining schedule. They got the Spurs at home, they got the Hornets at home, and they got the Celtics at home. So those are three really, really winnable games for the Knicks. And if you look at Miami's schedule, you look at Miami's schedule. They got they got. I mean, let me see. They got the Sixers, at the Bucks, and at the Pistons. So that's a little bit of a tough schedule there because they got to play the Sixers and Bucks. And if you look at the Hawks, they probably have the easiest remaining schedule, probably easier than the Knicks. They got the Wizards without Bradley Beal, they got the Magic, and they got the Rockets. So I think how this thing's going to end in the Eastern Conference, I think it's going to go Hawks, Knicks, and Heat, and that's the way I want it. I don't care if the Knicks get the 5 seed. I don't care if they're on the road. That's the way I kind of want it. I think Hawks get the 4, Knicks get the 5, Heat get the 6, but they could very easily be Hawks, Heat, Knicks. So it's going to be very interesting to see what happens in the next couple of days between those teams.
Yeah, well, I do think the Hawks are probably going to go 3-0 here. Just with the Wizards, without Beal are kind of there's not much left for them. I know Monday night they only beat them by a point. So but the Magics haven't played well at all the second half, and the Rockets stink. So they should win all 3 of those. The Heat, they've been playing really well, but it's a tough road. And for the Knicks, a 3-game homestand ended. I think they do bounce back and kind of go 3-0 and get that 5 seed. The Hawks 4. I'm with you, and the Heat gets a 6. With another, I think the Heat probably go down to Philly and probably lose at Milwaukee the next 2 games. So I do think the Knicks will find a way to get into that 4-5 game.
Yeah, that would be crucial for them. Really, I think their only chance at the only chance to win a playoff series is that they could beat the Hawks. I think if they play the Heat, they play the Bucks, and the Nets, I think they're going to lose in the first round.
Yeah, I think so too. The way, defensively, that Heat Knicks series would be really fun because both teams are so good defensively. But I think the Heat just have a couple more elements. That guys that can just kind of score late in the game that I think you can trust more than the Knicks right now. So I do think the Heat would, would be a tough matchup for me. And the Hawks, I know Young's coming back. It's a young team, but the Knicks, I think, should be able to beat them.
It'll be a good series. Neither team really has a lot of playoff experience, so it'll be really interesting if those 2 teams meet up.
Oh, yeah, it will. Both teams are pretty young. They have a lot of inexperienced guys that haven't been there. So, I think it definitely will be a really, really fun series.
Absolutely, absolutely. Staying in the Eastern Conference, and talking about the Heat, they got a big win over the Celtics last night, 129-121. The game was not as close as the score indicates. The Heat pulled away in the second half. They won twice against the Celtics, which the Heat last night clinched being in the top 6. And with that loss, the Celtics are now going to be probably are more likely going to be in the play-in tournament. And they now lost Jaylen Brown for the season with a wrist injury. So, Justin, I asked the question. I think the obvious thing is we know if they get in the playoffs, they're going to be one and done. But the big question is, can they even get out of the play-in tournament without Jaylen Brown?
I don't think so. It's a Celtics team that all year, even with Jaylen Brown, they have played down the competition. I don't trust this team at all. I'm kind of at the point where, because I'm with you. I don't think they make a playoff run where they kind of have to change, kind of not blow it up, but kind of get rid of some of the core guys here to change things up because it's not working. I don't really trust the Celtics at all. You don't know what team's going to show up. 2 big games at home is Miami, and it was a pitiful 2 games. It's a Miami team that's playing better, but to give up 130 and 129, it's not a vintage Brad Stevens team. They're not great at defending the 3-point arc. They've been top 5 the last 5-6 years defending the 3-point shot, but this year they're down towards the bottom.
And I've been saying this for the last probably 2 to 3 months. That's why Brad Stevens has got to get fired. I mean, I just don't think this team is responding to Brad Stevens anymore. I think they need a change. And you can't get rid of Jason Tatum. You can't get rid of Jaylen Brown. You can't probably not going to get rid of Danny Ainge. So I think the change has got to be with the head coach, and that's why I think this is it for Brad Stevens. He should have taken that Indiana job when he was offered it, because I think he's probably going to he should get fired. The Celtics should fire Brad Stevens. They need a change in leadership.
I think they should give him the 5-year extension a year or two ago too. So it's like, yeah, you probably should, because he's not the coach that's gonna fire you up. He's kind of like the nice guy in the locker room, which this team doesn't need right now. They kind of need a guy that's gonna push them right now. He's not the yeller. He's not the screamer. So yeah, I think the Celtics do need to go in a different direction, because Ainge isn't gonna leave. I thought about this before the Brown injury, that they should try to. I know Bradley Beal doesn't want to leave Washington, but try to see if they can get a package for Bradley Beal and include Jaylen Brown in that, because I think it'd be great for them to get another shooter. I know they need a 5, but to get another guard like Beal would be helpful for them. But that's besides the point right now. But yeah, I think they do need a change at the head coaching position.
Absolutely. 35 and 34 this year is completely unacceptable for that team. They've probably underachieved more than any team in the NBA this season.
Oh, absolutely. That's a team I thought could be a top 3 seed in the Eastern Conference. Get back to the Eastern Conference Finals and have a chance maybe to knock off the Nets. But there's absolutely no shot right now for them.
Staying in the Eastern Conference, and we got to talk about Russell Westbrook and what he accomplished, passing Oscar Robinson for the most triple doubles in league history with 182. I mean, I'm not saying the guy isn't a really, really good player. I think he's athletic. He plays hard. He's hard every game. He's got a lot of intensity. He plays with great intensity. But my issue with Russell Westbrook is, do these triple doubles really translate to wins? That's my problem with Russell Westbrook. Do these triple doubles? I mean, he's not won a playoff series without Kevin Durant. I mean, and it's not like he didn't have chances to win playoff series. I mean, one playoff series he lost, Donovan Mitchell was the best player on the other side for the Jazz. The other playoff series he lost to Dame Lillard, which people are claiming that he's a better point guard than, which I think is ridiculous. I would take Dame Lillard any day over Russell Westbrook. So I think very good accomplishment that he broke the record for triple doubles, but I think it's a little bit easy. I think it's not the hardest thing to get a triple double, knowing the way the NBA is today, which you can't touch guys you can't hand check anymore. So you were able to penetrate easier, to kick out to open shooters. So that's how he can get assists. Rebounds, and some of those rebounds, I hate to say it, those are fake rebounding numbers. Those are fake. Those rebounds are fake. Sometimes no one's boxing him out and he's going out and getting a rebound. And at times, just let your big get the rebound and save energy for late in the game. That's why you lose all these games. Okay, you lose all these 1-point games. Save some energy. So, to me, the triple double is I respect the fact he broke the record, but I do think it's an overrated statistic. And in my opinion, Russell Westbrook, let me tell you this, is not a top 15 player in the NBA. He's not. I'm taking LeBron, KD, Curry, Giannis, Kawhi, Harden, Doncic, Jokic, Embiid, AD, Lillard, Mitchell, Butler, Tatum, and Booker over him. And I said that in probably 20 seconds. I named probably 15 players in 20 seconds, 15 players in 15 seconds that I would take over Russell Westbrook. So, yes, very good accomplishment, but I'd like to see some playoff series wins without Kevin Durant for him. Everybody's saying best point guard of all time. That's nonsense. He shouldn't be put in the same conversation as Steph Curry.
Yeah, the greatest point guard of all time. Yeah, that's
or Magic Johnson. Yeah, no way.
Ridiculous. I've never been on that one. I agree. I don't think he's a top 15 player. When you're talking about your list, I'd take everybody that was on your list over Russell Westbrook. Yeah, I'm not trying to take anyone away from him, but yeah, again, I know he's been doing it for a while, but yeah, you have a guy like this year, Bradley Beal, that you just kick out to. Again, he's going to hit it most of the time. You've had KD, you had James Harden for a bit. He's had some really good shooters that he's been able to do it with, and yeah, the rebounding numbers.
Yeah, I mean, you saw he's throwing boxes out, and you saw what Steph Curry did when he had the shooting guard as good as Bradley Beal. That team was winning 73 games. They weren't the number 9 seed. They weren't the number 10 seed in the Eastern Conference.
Yeah, no, they weren't. And, and that's kind of the issue. It's, again, he's not the greatest. He's been a decent shooter, but yeah, the energy, and this is something that the Kings kind of worked on with Fox, because, in the games he couldn't really do much because, he was destroying himself on the defensive end and rebounding wise. So they told him to take it and not, take a notch.
Oh, we got a comment from Jace. Absolutely, John Stockton should be in that conversation. I'd take John Stockton over Russell Westbrook. I would. I think you got Magic, you got Steph, You got Jason Kidd. You got Steve Nash. And I go John Stockton, top 5 point guards of all time. Russell Westbrook is not on that list for me.
Yeah. Yeah, no.
And of course, Jace brings up the Utah Jazz guy.
Yeah. I put John Stockton right there as one of the best all-time point guards. He was one of the best assist guys of all time. So he's right there. Russell Westbrook looked great, but yeah, for me too. Yeah, he's got to get to Eastern Conference Finals or like some more conference finals, and get to like the NBA Finals and win something. Especially in the Eastern Conference with those two. And I know Beal's been banged up. I know the Wizards are just awful defensively, but still in this Eastern Conference, they could have made a little bit more of a push here. Maybe, they could have gotten maybe up to the 7 or 6 seed. They weren't going to be great, but
if Westbrook was as good as people say he is, they would not be in the play-in tournament. Okay, they would not be in the play-in tournament. I'm not saying the guy's not a top 25 player in the league. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that people talk like he's like a top 10 player in this league. He's not.
No, I'm with you. He's not. He has not done much without a guy with them. And even with Beal this year, those two are, Beal is one of the best shooters in the game, and they're still a 10 seed in the Eastern. It's Eastern Conference. Come on.
I know.
Special.
I know. I listen. I respect him as a player, but I just think he's overrated. I just think that people, just because this triple double, just because of the triple double, they put him on this pedestal like he's this great point guard, which he's not. He can't shoot threes. He cannot shoot three as well. He's difficult with he distributes. He's weird. He distributes the ball, but he's difficult to get along with. He was a reason why Kevin Durant got out of there. Kevin Durant dumped him for Steph Curry, and Durant was smart because Durant won 2 championships and he wasn't winning any championships with Russell Westbrook being the point guard.
No, he wasn't. No. So yeah, I definitely agree. He's one of the more overrated guys that everyone talks about. But yeah, look, I'm not trying to. He's been a really solid player in this league. You're not getting me wrong. I'm with you, but yeah, it's overrated. I don't know, and I wish I looked this up beforehand because something I just thought of. But like, what are his triple double numbers in the playoffs? Like, I don't think they're that. Like,
no,
there
was one game. Chase could probably remember. There was one game, Game 6 against the. You correct me if I'm wrong, Chase. Game 6 in 18 against the Jazz in the first round. He took 50 shots, and he had Paul George and Carmelo Anthony on his team. All right, Carmelo might have had his prime. He had Paul George on his team, and he took 50 shots in a game. So enough with this triple double nonsense. When in the playoffs, when you need to get your team to the next round, you're taking 50 shots and not trusting your teammates. Enough with that.
Yeah, I think I do remember that. I remember just chucking from everywhere because he's not the greatest shooter in the world.
He's not a good 3-point shooter.
Nah, he never really has. And in the playoffs when guys actually lock down and actually are really good defensively, that's kind of when, if he was doing that every night, you're getting triple doubles. Sure, I'll give him that credit, but yeah, other than that, no. Yeah, you got Paul George. I know Paul George hasn't been the greatest playoff guy, but you still got to get him involved. Carmelo, he got his prime. But
you should be able to beat a team with a rookie as their best player. They should be able to advance. You should be able to advance. End discussion. You should be able to advance. There's no way you shouldn't advance there if you want to be considered a top 10 player in this league. And his MVP year, when he won the MVP, what happened in the playoffs? Lost. The Rockets beat them easily in the first round.
Yeah, it's been the thing. It's great. Look, it's something too. It's just, the regular season numbers are good, but people are going to kind of define what you do in the postseason, and he hasn't been able to do much. I know he got to the finals with KD, but without KD, he really has not done much in the playoffs. And me, I'm always kind of a guy of, what do you do when it's time for the big moment? Again, regular season numbers don't take you so long,
especially in the NBA where the regular season doesn't mean as much as it does in like football or baseball. The NBA, the regular season doesn't mean as much. Your legacy is defined by what you do in the postseason in the NBA. That's why Michael Jordan is the greatest player ever. That's why LeBron James is the second greatest player ever. That's why Kobe Bryant is the third greatest player ever, because Michael Jordan won 6 rings. LeBron James has been to 10 NBA finals and has 4 rings. And Kobe Bryant has been to 7 NBA finals and has and has 5 rings. Magic Johnson has 5 rings. That's why he's number 4. Larry Bird is probably number 5 because he's been to 5 NBA Finals and he won 3 rings. So what you do in the postseason defines your NBA career. These regular season numbers are pretty and they're nice, but you gotta get it done in the postseason. And Russell Westbrook has not done that.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And that's why, too. I don't have him as I probably put him top 20, top 25. That's kind of where he is on my scale. Yeah. It's the playoff numbers. And, without KD, he has not been able to do it. And until he does, he's going to kind of stay in that list for me. And, and I don't think he's going to be able to accomplish it this year. But, the great players are the ones that know how to get it done when, it's playoff time. He has not been able to do it.
Absolutely, absolutely. So we'll get to the 8, 9, 10 in the Eastern Conference, and I look at their schedules. The Hornets and Pacers are tied for the 8 seed right now. Wizards a game behind, but I do think the Wizards end up getting that number 8 seed because here's why. I think the Hornets lose out. I think they lose to the Clippers. I think they lose to the Knicks, and they lose that last game to the Wizards, which could be a huge game. Just like the Warriors and the Grizzlies on Sunday could be a huge game. The Wizards and the Hornets could be a huge game too. And I think they lose all those games. I think the Pacers lose to the Bucks and Lakers and beat the Raptors. So that would put them at 34 and 38. And I think the Wizards lose to the Hawks, but they beat the Cavs and the Hornets. That would have them. Both those two teams would be at 34 and 38. The Hornets would be at 33 and 39. So I think and the Wizards have the tiebreaker over the Pacers. So I got the Wizards, the 8 seed. I got the Wizards playing the Celtics, and I got the Pacers playing the Hornets next week.
Yeah, for me, it was tough. I have the Hornets staying there at the 8. I think the Wizards get the 9. I think the Pacers get the 10. Because the Pacers kind of have a tough with the Bucks, Lakers, and Raptors kind of coming up. I know the Raptors are right because I think the Pacers go 1 and 2 there. Again, I think Wizards probably lose. They beat the Cavs. The Cavs they have not showed up the last few weeks. I think, I think the Wizards kind of get that 9. I think the Hornets kind of struggle here to the finish line with the Clippers. I think the Knicks are going to bounce back when they face off Saturday. But I could kind of see the Wizards maybe winning a game in the playing round. So I have it as Hornets Pacers 8, Wizards 9, and I think Hornets 10.
Oh, so you got it the same way I do. Wizards, Pacers, Hornets. You got the same way as me. Yeah. So it'll be interesting to see what happens. Before we get to the Western Conference, we'll talk a little bit about the Nets. There's a chance they can get Harden back tonight. And Kyrie, we don't know. I don't think his injury was that severe last night, but we'll see if the big 3 come together in the playoffs. And I don't think for them it matters what seed they get, 2 or 3. I still think when healthy, and I've said it all year, this team is the best team in the Eastern Conference, and this team will get to the NBA Finals. I don't care how many games they play together. I think this is the best team in the Eastern Conference when healthy.
Oh yeah, 100%. It's gonna be nice for them to get Harden back. I don't think chemistry's gonna matter. I know the Sixers are good. They've been great all year, but I just don't think that they have enough. They won't have enough. I would love to see. I want to see Giannis get to the finals, but they don't have enough around them. Again, they may be able to avoid. The Heat defensively could maybe slow them down, but I don't think enough. I don't think they'd be able to do it in a 7-game series, though. But maybe a best of 3, maybe, but it's best out of 7. I don't think that's going to happen.
If the Heat get the 5 seed, I think they win their first round series, and I think they beat the Sixers. I think it ends up being Heat Nets if the Heat get the 5 seed. I think they make another run.
I could see it. They're really coming along right now, and they Heat again. They love kind of playing that underdog role the last few years. I could really see that happen. I picked them to beat the Bucks last year in the semis.
Here we go with Jason. His big man comment now. Embiid would completely dominate the Knicks inside the 7. Embiid would have to completely dominate inside. Yeah, he would. And even if he has a big series, they won't be able to score enough points to keep up with the Sixers, with the Nets. The biggest mistake the Sixers made was they didn't trade for James Harden. If they traded for James Harden, they would be right there with the Nets, because then you would have Harden and you would have Embiid, and then you would have Durant, and then you would have Kyrie. And I think if the Sixers traded for Harden, they'd be the best team in the Eastern Conference. But they didn't want to get rid of Ben Simmons, who can't shoot threes. And so if they play the Nets, they're probably going to lose in the playoffs. And if they lose in the playoffs, it'll all come back to January, where they didn't go trade for James Harden.
Yeah, I will. They just, look, and I know you've been harping this for years. The center, you cannot have the best player, even though I do miss the face.
You missed the Akeem the Dream days. Yes, the Akeem the Dream, Patrick Ewing days. You missed those days. Bill Russell. That's years ago. Yeah.
You Will Chamberlain.
Yeah, you like the center being the best player. That's not working today. It's not working.
No, it doesn't. And you're not going to be able to win any play. You're just not going to be able to go far. It's just you're never going to be able to win finals anymore. I hate it, but it's the way it is nowadays. And it's going to hurt the Sixers. I don't know why they didn't want to pull the trigger on Ben Simmons. I guess they want to be loyal to him, but loyalty really doesn't matter.
Yeah, loyalty is going to get you knocked out in the second round of the conference finals. Not going to get you to the NBA finals. The Nets weren't loyal to, Karis LeVert. They weren't loyal to Jared Allen. But now they got James Harden. They got the ticket that's going to get them to the NBA finals if all three of those guys are healthy.
Absolutely. And it's going to come back and bite them. And as you said, it could be the Heat that bite them instead of the Nets. Yeah, they just they have some nice pieces around, but it would have been nice to get one of the best players in the game, James Harden, and it's definitely gonna hurt. And and as long as the Nets are healthy, they're playing well. I just don't know how you can stop them enough in 4 games. I just don't see it. Maybe a game or two can slow them down if they get a good defensive team, but I don't see it other than that being able to do it in the best of 7. There's just no way.
Nope, not at all. So circling back to the Lakers in the Western Conference, right now the Lakers, here we go. There is no loyalty in basketball. It's all about who will get you a championship, and Frank is right there. And James Harden will get the Nets a championship. And that's why, the Sixers, and as we said, the Sixers made a mistake. The Sixers made a mistake not trading for him. And Frank can go back to the Heat back in 2011. It was all about them getting that championship. That's why they, went out and signed Chris Bosh and LeBron James. And they had made those moves because Pat Riley wanted to win a championship. Pat Riley knows what he's doing as a GM. That's why Pat Riley's the best GM in basketball, is because he knows that it's all about winning. And that's why the Heat went out and got LeBron James. That's why the Nets went out and traded for James Harden. Superstars win in the NBA today. And that's how you win championships. I know you probably don't love it, but that's how you win championships today.
Yeah, no, I like being a Kings fan too. I know we're never really going to have superstars.
Nobody's coming to Sacramento. You got lucky with You got lucky when Chris Webber got traded there years ago, but that's pretty much it.
Yeah, I'm like,
your only chance to win was that year where you lost to the Lakers in 7. Yeah. Well, that's another story for another day. What happened there?
Yeah, it is. Yeah, we have not been the same since. First 4-game road trip we've won since 05, 06. Oh, wow. That's how long it's been.
Wow.
We just did that last week. So that's crazy. But it's you got to have superstars. It's the only way, and that's why every year it's a big market team. That's why you don't see the Sacramento. That's why the Jazz are a great story, but they're not a big market. I'm like, they can't get another Rudy Gobert's a nice player. They have some nice pieces around, but you need that second superstar. And
I know you don't. That's why they'll get exposed. That's why that team will get exposed in the playoffs if they have to go against the Lakers or the Clippers. They'll get exposed.
Yeah, and I always cheer for the little guys. So I'll be cheering for Utah and Phoenix and all those in Milwaukee, but. It just it's tough to compete, and you got to be able to. For those teams, it's got to be drafting and just, finding guys under the rug, and it's all about the superstars. And for this too, for Philly, it's such a passionate fan. They're passionate about all their sports. So you would think, that front office would be hungry to go get James Harden. It just, they
didn't want to trade. They still believe Ben Simmons is going to be great, which they're wrong about because he's only good. He's only going to be good. He's not going to be great. Yeah. They just think Ben Simmons is going to be great. That's the problem there.
Yeah, because unfortunately, unless he somehow develops a 3-point shot, I know we've been saying this the last few years, but again, I don't think that's coming anytime soon. Doesn't seem like it.
Yeah.
He's never gonna be a superstar guy to help out Embiid, and they missed their chance.
Nope, not at all, not at all. So heading back to the Western Conference, looking at the Lakers right now. Look at their now that they're currently the 7th seed, and looking at their final 3 games. They got with LeBron back. They got the Rockets tonight. Then they go to Indiana, and they go to New Orleans. I think they win all 3 of those games. But here's the thing. I think Portland loses to Utah tonight, but I think they beat Phoenix because Phoenix hasn't been playing well. I think Phoenix is a little bit fraudulent for being a number 2 seed. I think that team, if they get the Lakers in the playoffs, they're definitely losing to the Lakers. I'll guarantee you that right now. The Lakers will beat the Suns in the first round if they play. But yeah, I think Phoenix is a little bit fraudulent. So I think Portland beats Phoenix, and then I think they end up beating the Nuggets. So I think Portland ends up getting that number 6 seed. But I think it's going to be. I wouldn't be surprised if the Lakers get that seed. I think the Mavericks end up getting the 5 because I think they win out. I think they beat the Pelicans. I think they beat the Pelicans, Raptors, and Timberwolves. I think they win out. So I think the Mavericks get the 5, and I'm still going with my prediction from last week. I got Portland getting the 6 and the Lakers getting the 7.
Yeah, I'm with you. The Mavericks should be able to win out. As long as they show up, they should be able to beat the Pelicans. The Raptors, it sounds like they're done done in Orlando. They're ready to go home. And the Timberwolves, they should beat. Yeah, the Mavericks should be 3-0. Portland, Utah tonight's going to be a tough one. With them still battling for position, I think they go to Phoenix and lose, and then I think they do knock off the Nuggets. So I think they go 1-2. And then I do have the Lakers here. I have the Lakers. They should be able to win out. We'll see how LeBron comes back. I know, the first game he came back, Sacramento wasn't, the team kind of wasn't great, wasn't there, but I think the Lakers should be able to win out there. So I have like the Mavs at the 5. I think Portland then would move to the 6 and Lakers 7. I could be wrong, but I can't remember who had the tiebreaker.
What would happen is if Portland and the Lakers tie, it would be Portland would have the tiebreaker. But if all 3 of them tie, it would be the Mavericks because the Mavericks won the Southwest Division. So if all 3 tie, it would be the Lakers lose tiebreakers. The Lakers lose. Here's the thing: the Lakers lose tiebreakers to both the Mavericks and the Blazers. If the Blazers and Lakers tie, it would be the Blazers win the tiebreaker. But if the Blazers and Mavericks tie, the Blazers would win the tiebreaker too because they beat the Mavericks twice. So the Blazers have tiebreakers over the Lakers and over the Mavericks, and the Mavericks only have tiebreakers over the Lakers, or if it's a 3-way tie, and the Lakers don't have tiebreakers over any.
Okay, all right. So then I'm with you. Then I have Mavs 5, Portland 6, Lakers 7. Then.
Gotcha. Yeah, yes. So yeah, it should be interesting to see what happens with those 3 teams. But we're gonna get to the part of the program that Jace's looking forward to, and that's the race for the number 1 seed in the West. And it looks like a couple of weeks ago, Jace said it's a lock that the Jazz will get the 1 seed, and I got to admit, we all know Jace picks the Giants every week. He loves to defend his teams, but in this case, Jace was right. He said it was a lock, and it looks like he's going to be right because it looks like the Jazz are going to get the 1 seed. Jazz host Portland tonight. They go to OKC, and guess who they got in that season finale? They got your Sacramento Kings in the last game on the road. So I think they win out, and I think they get. I don't even think that Kings game is going to matter. I think they'll win out and get the number 1 seed. And for the Suns, they got Portland, and then 2 games against San Antonio. No, stop it. Okay, stop. Now it's a lock for them to get to and win. Oh, stop it. Okay. You should just quit when you said it was a lock for them to get the number 1 seed. Now you're guaranteeing that they're going to win the champion. Are you kidding me? To me, they're still the 3rd best team in the West. I don't care. Okay, I don't care what their seed is. So yeah, now they're a lock to win the final. I mean, they're arguably not even a top 5 team in the NBA. I mean, you probably could take the Lakers, the Clippers, the Bucks, the Nets. All right, maybe I put them over the Sixers. Maybe I put them 5, but still. Now Jace is saying it's a lock for them to get it in the finals and win. I tell you, I just had to say he should have stopped when he said it was a lock for him to get the number 1 seed. That's all I'm saying there. But yeah, so for the Suns, they got Portland and San Antonio twice. So I think it's Jazz 1, Suns 2. I think it's pretty obvious.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. And I see Frank's comment, I hope the Lakers don't go anywhere. I'm with you, Frank. I hope so too. I hope they get bounced in the play-in round. That'd be great. That'd be great to see.
Frank, you could hope the Lakers don't go anywhere, but if they get healthy, that's the best team in the Western Conference, clearly. Yes, the play-in tournament definitely could help them, but if they get healthy, watch out. That's the best team. You put LeBron back on that team, you get Dennis Schroeder back, and then you've got obviously Anthony Davis. And here we go. Chase, if they don't make it that far, you're going to have to eat that. Oh, Jason will be eating that humble pie. I guarantee you Jason will be eating humble pie about the Jazz not getting to the NBA Finals. I guarantee that's going to happen. Jason will be eating that humble pie. But yeah, going back to the Lakers, yeah, if they're healthy, this is the best team with LeBron, AD. They got Schroeder back. Obviously, you got Harrell coming with the bench. You added Andre Drummond. I know the chemistry might not be there, but talent-wise, this is the best team in the Western Conference. I know you could hope they don't go anywhere, but they're the best team in the Western Conference if everyone's healthy.
Yeah, when they're healthy, there's
and you hope you hope they don't either because you're a Kings fan and you can't stand them.
Yep. No, I cannot stand the Lakers. But yeah, going back to the 1-2, please don't lock it up, Jazz, until Sunday or after Sunday. Like make that King game matter. So you guys beat us by 50 again, like a month ago at home. That'd be nice. That'd be nice to end the Luke Walton era. That'd be a very nice.
You want Luke Walton gone?
Oh yes, I've been wanting Luke gone the minute we hired him. I've been praying. So hopefully that comes this weekend. But yeah, I think it's a lock. I don't think that King Game's gonna matter on Sunday. They're already up 2 games. I don't see the Jazz losing tonight. And OKC, again, I saw them last night play the Kings again. They're not good. They're tanking. They're done. So I don't see them losing either 3 of those games. So yeah, it's pretty much locked up. The Jazz will get that 1 seed.
All right, to wrap up the NBA, we got the 8 and 9 seed, that's a little bit that's an underrated race. The 8 and 9 seed in the Western Conference. I mean, and even the Eastern Conference is such an underrated race because if you get the 9 seed, you got to play a game for your season. If you get the 8 seed, you got a chance to get the 7 seed. So it's between the Warriors and the Grizzlies for that 8-9 seed. Warriors got the Pelicans and the Grizzlies at home, and guess who Memphis has 2 games in a row at home?
It's the Rockets, right?
It's your Sacramento Kings. 2 games in a row. They got your Sacramento Kings 2 games in a row. So I think they win both those games. I think Sunday's game is going to be for the number 8 seed. They play Sunday at Golden State. I think that game is going to be for the number 8 seed in the Western Conference. So I think that game's in a normal year. That game would be for the playoff to get in the playoffs. Yeah. It would be a one and done. It would be pretty much would be the winner would go to the playoffs, loser go home. But now with the play-in tournament. They would still get in. So, I think that's going to be a huge game on Sunday. But I got the Warriors getting the 8 and the Grizzlies getting the 9.
Yeah, I'm with you. I have the Warriors finishing 8th. They should be. I think they do knock off the Pelicans again. Without Zion, they should be able to knock them off. And I think at home, I think they should be able to take the Grizzlies. And I think the Grizzlies are going to probably sweep the Kings. I don't, know Halberin. I don't know what's going on. They should be able to win both of those. I think it's a 2 makeup games, I believe, from late January when the Grizzlies had COVID. The one interesting thing about that game, though, is it's the first time they're meeting. I don't remember if you saw this, Steve, back in January. I think it was in January when Jonas Valanciunas ripped down. Yeah, Valanciunas ripped down Cheka Mata at the Kings. He kind of ripped them down and he was out for a while after a dunk. So I don't know if there's going to be any bad blood because he was out for a while. Because I don't know if the Kings are going to kind of, I stand up for what happened that game. I don't really know. It was a while ago, but again, I don't think the Kings have a chance with the Grizzlies playing for a playoff spot right now. So yeah, I think the Grizzlies go 2-1. They just can't. I don't think they knock off the Warriors.
No, I think Steph Curry's on a roll, and I think it would be great to see that Warrior-Laker matchup in the play-in. I would love seeing that Warrior-Laker matchup. I think everybody wants to see that. Yeah,
that'd be a fun one. That's I'm because if Clay's healthy, obviously that could be like a Western Conference Finals matchup. If, the Warriors are healthy. So yeah.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
You get that in the play-in round. Yeah, it's like a bonus right there. So
that's
another. It's a big one.
That's another team that would be better than the Jazz if Klay Thompson was healthy, to let Jace know.
Yeah, they Warriors probably would. Oh man, yeah, having that Klay Thompson back, another superstar for that roster. But yeah, so that would obviously be fun if it shakes out with the Lakers and Warriors being the 7-8.
Yep. So yeah, it should be really interesting to see what happens in the NBA. I'm really looking forward to the play-in tournament next week. So I mean, it's going to be a fun last week of the season, and the play-in tournament should be great, and we'll definitely be talking about that next week. But we got Tim Tebow back in the NFL, and the NFL schedule is coming out tonight. But before that, we got a promo from Clovercrest Media.
Attention all basketball fans. CMG Sports presents the Posting Up Podcast, where Lucas Boldick, Sean Scanlon, and King Zay discuss the latest news and topics throughout the NBA. So, if you have a love for basketball, make sure you check out the Posting Up Podcast, live every Tuesday and Saturday on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. Also available for download on every podcast platform.
That is the Posting Up Podcast every Tuesday and Saturday. Check that out. Jace, Sean, Isaiah, and Lucas. Check them out every Tuesday and Saturday. Posting Up Podcast. You're going to want to hear them all the time for the next 2 months because they'll be talking NBA playoffs. So make sure you check that out. Posting Up Podcast every Tuesday and Saturday here on Clovercrest Media. So before we get to the NFL schedule, we have to talk about this. Tim Tebow is back in the NFL. Playing for the Jags. The Jags are expected to sign him. He's playing for the Jacksonville Jaguars. And for me, I don't love this move. I think this could be a move that could divide the locker room. I mean, I know the Jaguars tight end. The Jaguars are very weak at tight end. They drafted the kid from Ohio State, and James O'Shaughnessy was their best tight end last year. So the Jags are really weak at tight end. But Tim Tebow hasn't played in the NFL in almost in 9 years. I don't think you could bring a guy that hasn't played in the NFL in 9 years and bring him in. To me, that makes no sense at all. I think this is a bad move by Urban Meyer, just like bringing in that college strength coach. Here we go. Tim Tebow needs to stay home if he's going to get right. Frank's right about that. This to me, it's a bad move. Bad move for them. And if I'm Jacksonville, I wouldn't have made this move. I think this move kind of divides the locker room. If they're going to see him playing poorly, they're going to think this is a publicity stunt and not really a move that's really serious for them to be a contending team in 2021.
Yeah, it was a very interesting move. I know Jacksonville hasn't been the most exciting place in the world. I know they just got Lawrence. They're trying to bring some excitement to Jacksonville here, but I'm with you. I don't know if Tebow's the answer here. I don't know I don't know why he doesn't like his SEC Nation gig on Saturdays. You got to think he's gonna make a couple $1 million doing that or something. But I don't know. He wants to try to get back into this thing. It's been a decade. He's never played tight end. He's what now, like 33? I don't really know.
And Jason's got a comment. I think this is just a way for Tebow to get on Meyer's coaching. That's a good point. Tim.
Because I did hear he is going to kind of mentor Trevor Lawrence. So, if it doesn't work at tight end, maybe he becomes the QB coach if it happens. So I could see that happening right there. If he's mentoring Lawrence, but is there really not any tight end in the league that you really can't find better than Tim Tebow right now?
I know. It's just a move that to me just makes no sense at all. It makes no sense. And yes, if he would have done this 7-8 years ago, it would have made total sense. He probably could have been a decent tight end in this league, but right now, no, it doesn't make sense to me at all.
No, me neither. I just think it's Jacksonville trying to get a primetime game. So I don't remember the last time besides the Thursday Night Football, I don't remember the last time they've had a Monday or Sunday night game. So I think they're just trying to get on national TV here, but. I just don't get the move. I don't. I understand the Trevor Lawrence mentoring part. I think he could be a very good one for Trevor coming into this league. But other than that, I just don't see this move really panning out.
No, not at all. Not at all. Not at all. Now going to an AFC South team that made a move that could make them Super Bowl contenders, and that's the Colts going out and signing Eric Fisher. I know he's coming off an Achilles injury. We don't know if he's going to be healthy for week 1. We don't even know if he's going to be ready. But this is and Eric Fisher is not a great left tackle. He's a good left tackle. He's not a great left tackle, but this is a move with Costanza retiring. It definitely makes the Colts. If he's healthy, the Colts probably have the top offensive line in the league, and it definitely makes them, I think, the best team in the AFC South, and I think it makes them Super Bowl contenders.
It can be. I think they're hoping. When I was reading, it sounds like August they're hoping he can kind of come back and be at full strength. So be right kind of before everything, the season gets underway. But yeah, former number 1 pick. Yeah, he's been solid. He hasn't been great, but he's been a solid left tackle. And the Colts had, last few years, they've really built this offensive line. And I know their number 1 goal was to try to protect Carson Wentz and try to keep him healthy. So again, this move just helps that out. And yeah, I think at the moment, they are the favorite in that AFC South there now.
Oh yeah, with Quentin on that offensive line, Quentin Nelson, right? And the only big question mark with the Colts, Jay says, is Wentz, and Wentz, and I would say an edge rusher and can Pittman emerge as the number 1 receiver? So there's three question marks for me. But yes, Wentz is this very, very, very big question mark. Can he be the guy he was in 2017 with the Eagles when he was in the MVP conversation, or can he be? Or is he going to be the guy that he was last year with the Eagles? If he was the guy that he was in 2017, Colts are going to be right there with the Chiefs. If he was the guy that he was last year for the Eagles, the Colts will be a 7-8 win team. They'll have to try to win despite the quarterback play. So yeah, very good point by Jace. Wentz, the major question mark. Also is edge rusher, is Kwity Paye. Are they going to re-sign Justin Houston? They did draft Kwity Paye, so are they going to be able to get a good outside pass rush? Because they do have a good inside pass rush with DeForest Buckner. So they're going to get a good outside pass rush, and can Pittman emerge as the number 1? Those are the big question marks for the Colts. And if all those questions get answered and everything pans out, I think this team can compete with the Chiefs. Because don't forget, 2018, they beat the Chiefs in their house with Patrick Mahomes, with Jacoby Brissett at quarterback.
Yeah, that defense has been really, really good. So it's up. Yeah, it's on Wentz. This team. The hope was he kind of reunites here with his former OC Frank Wright, and he kind of lights a spark and kind of helps Wentz's career kind of come back to what it was in 2017 when he looked like he was going to be the MVP, and unfortunately got hurt. But yeah, if he can play solid enough, look, that division's not great. None of those 3 teams that division are great either. Like the Texans defense, it's awful.
Oh, the Texans, both those defenses are terrible. Texans, you're not facing the Giants or Washington's defense. No. The Texans and the Jags defense are terrible. The Titans defense isn't even that good either. So so I think this Colts team, I think they're even before Fisher, I thought they were going to win the AFC South. I'm even more confident in winning the AFC South now.
Yeah, I think so, because I think they're going to do a very good job of protecting Wentz. I don't, again, last year he just had absolutely no blocking for him. I think it was like part of that. Part of it was in his head last year, which is mentally for him. So, yeah, if he can play well and just be somewhat decent, the Colts should be able to win this division by 2 or 3 games. I think the Titans are probably going to be a wild card team, but they just don't have enough defense to really play with them.
Absolutely. So tonight the schedule comes out with all the leaks, though. I think we're going to find out before 8:00 what everyone's schedule is, because there have been so many leaks out. Now, a surprise, I'm not going to tell you who it is. An entire team has leaked out his schedule. We're going to get to it. It's actually you just saw. Okay, we're going to get to that. But we're going to start with week 1. And the best thing about waking up today was waking up this morning was one thing. And guess what it was? It relates to the first game of the season.
Yes, I do. Yeah, CBS and then Fox News had like the Fox games.
Yeah. But one thing I was so excited about though was waking up knowing the Cowboys are going to start 0-1 because they're opening up the season playing the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and they're not winning that game. Everyone knows that. Brady's not losing opening night to the Cowboys. They're going to win that game. Bucs are going to win that game by 2 scores. I'm so happy that Dallas is going to start 0-1. So I'm really happy about that. So that's the first game of that'll be the opening game of the season. The Cowboys travel down to Tampa Bay to face the Buccaneers. Really excited the fact that Dallas will start 0-1. So I'm excited about that. And we look at some of the other notable games from Week 1. We got the Bills and the Steelers, and the 1 o'clock day we got the Bills and Steelers. Got the Cardinals and the Titans. We got Tyler Murray against Derrick Henry. Got Sam Darnold facing his former teams. We got Sam Darnold and Zach Wilson going in Week 1. So we got the Panthers and the Jets. We got Russell Wilson heading to Indianapolis to face the Colts. We got a battle of 2 good teams there, 2 potential Super Bowl contenders there. And now we go to the 4 o'clock games, and the 4 o'clock, because there's 2 4 o'clock games, Fox and CBS. They're both doing doubleheader weeks. I think they're going to do it twice this year, Week 1 and Week 18, but they have 2 doubleheader weeks. And the doubleheader week on CBS, we know for sure Nance and Romo will be at this game, and that is the Browns and the Browns and the Chiefs. So the Browns with their roster, their really good roster, go to Kansas City where they were eliminated in the playoffs. That'll be the Week 1 4:25 CBS game with Nance and Romo. So the Browns go to Kansas City. So that'll be a very interesting game there. And then we have the B game on CBS, and that'll be with your New England Patriots facing. You'll probably get Kevin Harlan doing that game. Right. You'll get the B game as the Dolphins travel up to New England to face the Patriots. So that should be an interesting game. Pats Fins. That's an interesting one. You probably wish you got the Fins later in the year, but you got them Week 1. So that'll be a very competitive, very interesting game in Week 1. We'll see who starts, Cam Newton or Mac Jones. It could be the 2 Alabama quarterbacks going up against each other, Mac Jones and Cam Newton. No, Mac Jones and Tua, but more than likely it's going to be
Get the Iron Bowl.
Oh yeah, Auburn, Alabama. Yeah, Tua in camp. So win-win there. You got Auburn, Alabama, with 2 Alabama quarterbacks, and then we got the 2 Fox games at 4:25, and we don't know where Joe and Troy are going, because if Aaron Rodgers gets traded to the Broncos, and I think they did this on purpose. They put the Broncos and Giants at 4:25, because if Aaron Rodgers gets traded to the Broncos, we know Joe and Troy will be there Week 1 as the Broncos face the Giants, and then the Packers and Saints is another 4:25 game that day as well. So, I know the schedule makers did that on purpose. They put the Broncos in the 4:20. They put the Giants and Broncos in the 4:25 spot because they have a feeling that Aaron Rodgers is going to get traded to the Broncos. But we'll get to that. That'll be a story for the next couple of weeks. But yeah, so that's why the Packers and the Broncos are in that 4:25 slot on Fox in Week 1. And then the Sunday night game, we got the Bears and Rams. I love to see it be Justin Fields against that Rams defense, but I got a feeling they may take it slow and start Andy Dalton. But if they want any chance to win that game, you got to start Justin Fields against the Rams, I hope. And then Monday Night Football, the Raiders. First game in Las Vegas with fans as they host Lamar Jackson and the Ravens.
Yeah, so I'm actually I actually don't mind that they're getting rid of the doubleheader on Monday night.
That's great move, because nobody watches that. Does anybody? If your team's not playing, do you watch that second Monday night game?
No,
really?
Raiders. I may watch the halftime because it's usually the Raiders.
Yeah,
but even my dad falls asleep at half. He doesn't even really. You know, it's tough on the East Coast. You can't really watch the full entirety of that game. But yeah, so I'm excited there. I'm excited to kind of see the Raiders with fans. Sunday night game, look, with Pace and you would think with their jobs on the line there, you would think you would put Fields in there now. But it'll be interesting. Pats. It's very weird to have the Pats kind of be the B game here at a 4:30 game.
It's weird, but when you go 7-9 and miss the playoffs, now you're the B game. Sorry, you're the B game now. You go 7-9, you miss the playoffs. You don't re-sign Tom Brady. You're now the B game. And you're facing a team that hasn't won a playoff game. You're facing Frank's Miami Dolphins, who haven't won a playoff game in 20 years. You're the B game. You got to live with it. Browns got a great roster. Chiefs got Mahomes. Mahomes is getting Nance and Romo now. Nance and Romo are getting away from the Patriots until they start winning again.
Yeah, unfortunately. I don't know. They don't play the Chiefs at all this year, I don't think either. So
no, because the Patriots came in third and the Chiefs came in first, and the divisions don't play each other. That's why, they played every year because they always came in first. Now the Patriots came in third and the Chiefs came in first, so they're not going to. And the divisions don't play each other, so they're not going to play this year.
Yep, it's an odd thing this year. So a little bit easier to schedule when we kind of look at it. But yeah, so excited there. There's some good one. I'm excited. First play of the game, Sam Darnold. Do you think that Christian McCaffrey for an 85-yard screen touchdown?
That'd be crazy. That'd be crazy. That'd be nice to see if that happened.
Yeah, that would. But so that I'm excited for that one. Cleveland and KC. Cleveland had the ball there late in the game with a chance to win. Cleveland had them. So I'm excited to see that one at 4:30. There's some good week one games. Usually sometimes there's only like one or two games you kind of get excited for, but there's a couple this year. I'm really, week one, there's some good games, and we're gonna kind of find out a lot. Like even the Cowboys and Bucks. But I'm saying the storylines of how does Dak look in his first game?
Oh
back?
yeah, okay, yeah, gotcha.
Has Dallas defense improved at all? Have they gotten better?
Good point there. Good point.
So I'm kind of the storyline. Yes, I think Tampa's probably going to put up 40 on them, but I think we're going to kind of find out how this Cowboys team's any different from last year. On the defense of the ball.
Like say if they're close, they lose like a 35-31 kind of game, then you're thinking, okay, the Cowboys could be a really good team this year. But like if they lose like 35-13, then you're like pretty much same old Cowboys.
Yep. Yeah. Because that Tampa defense would be tough. So they have a lot of offense, but
Jesus comment. I was playing Tampa. It's like Clemson playing the Citadel. It's a tune-up game. That's funny. I like to hear him try to tell that to Jared. I like to hear what Jared's reaction would be if he told him that Clemson Tampa is like the Citadel, like Clemson playing the Citadel, a tune-up game. That's a funny one. Yeah.
It is. Clemson's tune-up game this year is UConn. So.
Oh wow! Wow!
That'll be their tune-up game. But that's a good one, Jace. But look, Vegas made no Sunday because I don't know if you saw the lines. It came out like an hour before we started. Denver's a 1-point favorite now at New York.
Which I think with Drew Lock is ridiculous. I think that's absurd. With Drew Lock at the quarterback, I know Denver, they'll have Von Miller back. They'll have Cortland Sutton back. They drafted Patrick Surtain. They got Kyle Fuller. But I think that's ridiculous that the Giants aren't a home favorite against the Broncos with Drew Lock at quarterback. I think that's a little bit absurd in my opinion.
Yeah, I think Vegas knows at some point they don't want to get absolutely destroyed on people betting this now that Rodgers is probably going to be in Denver week one. I think that Vegas kind of thinking he's going to be there. And then like the first game without Rodgers, how does if it does happen, Jordan Love going up probably against Jameis Winston, like two quarterbacks here that are kind of replacing legends, and how does it go for both those teams? So there's a lot of interesting storylines here week one, which you usually don't have, and I'm really excited for. Obviously, I'm excited for football to happen, but there's extra excitement I think with all the storylines.
Yeah, and I think they've worked it out, like with Darnold playing his old team with the Jets, with the Cowboys playing the Bucs. I think with all the interesting storylines, I think, and with the Browns going back to Kansas City, I think they set it up this way, and they sometimes set it up this way in week one, but they set it up this way to get people really excited, I think.
Yeah, I know they kind of had it, this morning, kind of releasing it on Good Morning America and Fox with Friends or something, I think it was called. Like they're really trying to hype up the schedule, which I think they're doing a really good job with.
Doing a great job of it. Yeah,
and I know the NFL takes every advantage it can, and they definitely done it here. And when the week one schedule came out, there's a ton of storylines, and obviously you're always excited for football in week one, but I do feel like there's more excitement for me after kind of seeing the schedule this morning that with all the storylines, because it seems like every game has somewhat of like an intriguing storyline.
Absolutely. Exactly. So we're going to go to some of our notable games that aren't from week one that were released, and obviously the first one is the Pats and the Bucks and the Pats. We'll reveal it Sunday night, October 3rd in Foxborough. And let me tell you something. That stadium, every single Patriot fan should be cheering Tom Brady. If there's a Patriot fan that's booing Tom Brady, I have no respect for that fan at all. There should be no Patriot fans booing Tom Brady. Every Patriot fan should be cheering for Tom Brady on October 3rd. There's no excuse for any Patriot fan to be booing Tom to be booing Tom. There's no excuse for any Patriot fan not to be cheering Tom Brady on October 3rd. Every Patriot fan's got to be cheering him. I could see maybe booing Gronk because he took that year off, but Brady, no way.
No way. I think if you're a Patriot and you boo, you should be kicked out of Gillette Stadium for life. You should be banned. I know people were burning his jersey the night they lost the Titans in that playoff game. There were people in the parking lot I saw burning his jersey already.
Wow,
those fans I hope are not welcomed in, I'm hoping.
No. There should be no booing of Tom Brady. I think that's absolutely ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous if they do that.
Yeah.
So we look at the other notable games, Thanksgiving Day games. You got the Bears and the Lions. I mean, Justin Fields playing against on Thanksgiving. Raiders, Cowboys. A typical Cowboy, probably a Cowboy win on Thanksgiving. Probably a Cowboys win. And then you got the Bills and the Saints, which is I think it's the most interesting game interesting game. You got the Saints roster against Josh Allen. I think that's the most interesting game on Thanksgiving. And usually that's the game you fall asleep after. We didn't have that game this year due to COVID, but that's usually the game you fall asleep after. I think that's the game you got to stay awake for this year, that Bills Saints game.
Yeah, totally. Thanksgiving, Fields is playing, brings a little bit more intriguing to that game, but Dallas, it seems like the last 3 times Dallas has played played the Raiders, it's been Thanksgiving, feels like. So be a little interesting Thanksgiving dinner during the Raider game. But Bills Saints should be an exciting one Thursday. And don't forget the Egg Bowl that Mike Leach versus Lane Kiffin that night as well. So I'll have the TV.
Of course, you'll be watching the Egg Bowl. You'll be watching, Mike Leach against Lane Kiffin. That's going to be interesting. Those two going at it.
Oh yeah. So
did they play last year, or was this be the first time?
No, they did, but it wasn't Thanksgiving weekend. It was like middle October, maybe.
Oh,
they played early, I think.
But that'll be interesting. Mike Leach and Lane Kiffin going at it in the Egg Bowl. That'll be
interesting coaching matchup.
Oh yeah, definitely.
But I'll have 2 games on that night. But usually I do fall asleep. But I think Bills Saints is very we'll know by then of how Jameis Winston looks. Being in a Saints uniform, definitely 2 teams that they should be battling for a playoff spot. Bills probably AFC East. Saints probably not going to win the South, but will definitely be in the wild card hunt. I think they still will make a wild card without Drew Brees. That roster is good enough. So, it's always that third game that's usually the one that is really exciting on Thanksgiving.
Yeah. It usually isn't the most exciting game, but this year I think it's going to be really exciting.
Yeah, it should be. I think it's going to be could be a shootout with those two.
Absolutely. So, and then Christmas Day, we got the Browns playing the Packers. So you never know. It could be the Browns against Aaron Rodgers. We don't know what's going to happen there.
Yeah, that would be a fun one. If it's Packer, if they do have Rodgers, definitely that would be another fun one. Even with Jordan Love, I think the Packers roster is good enough that it will still be a good game. It's crazy. Cleveland's got all of these big games now, but they're a good team now. They figured it out. So that'll be another 2 teams that are kind of going down the stretch run here, looking for the playoffs. So it's another really interesting game.
Absolutely. Now we got breaking news. The New England thanks to at My Sports Update on Twitter, the New England Patriots schedule has been released, and I'm going to reveal it right now for everyone. Week 1, we know they host the Miami Dolphins. I don't have times. I just have opponents. Week 1, they host the Miami Dolphins. You have times?
Yes, yes.
Oh, you have times.
Yeah, I have times. This one's from where I got it. I got it from Dov Kilman.
Oh yeah, I think I might have found another one with the. Let me see if I found another one with times. I think I found another one with times, but we know what the opener is against Miami against the Dolphins. Week 2 will be a 1:00 game against the Jets. Week 2 against the Jets, 1:00. Week 3, and that's at the Jets at MetLife Stadium. Yep. Week 3, they will be hosting the New Orleans Saints in a 1:00 game. And obviously, everyone knows about Week 4. Week 4 is the game, Sunday Night Football against the Buccaneers. Week 5, they'll be traveling to Houston for a 1:00 game against the Texans. Week 6. And of course, they put this game at 4:25 because it's going to get a bunch of ratings. I mean, neither team is a great team, but they're obviously going to put it at 4:25. 4:25. Actually, it's a CBS game, so it'll probably be Nance and Romo. The one time you get Nance and Romo, could be the one time you get Nance and Romo all year. It'll be the Cowboys
Actually,
traveling to Foxborough to play the Patriots. Week 7 is week 7. They host the Jets at 1:00. Week 8, they will head to Los Angeles to face Justin Herbert and the Chargers. So that'll be an interesting game, seeing them face Justin Herbert and the Chargers.
Last year.
That's on Halloween. Week 9, they will be heading to Carolina. We don't know if Cam's going to be the starter, but that would be Cam Newton's return to Carolina. Week 10, the Browns head into Foxborough that week, so the Browns will play the Patriots that week. Baker Mayfield comes to town. Week 11, Thursday night football, they go down to Atlanta to face the Falcons. Week 12, they will host the Tennessee Titans. Week 13, they got Monday night football in Buffalo. They got a bye week 14. It's a late bye, really late bye.
Very late bye. That worries me.
That's why that Buffalo game could be trouble because you're playing 13 weeks in a row. Week 15, they head to Indianapolis. TBD, it could be a Saturday game or a Sunday game. Week 16, funny. After Christmas, there's going to be 3 weeks left in the season. That's crazy to think of.
Yeah,
it's crazy to think of. Week 16, they will host the Buffalo Bills in a 1:00 game. Week 17, they will host Trevor Lawrence and the Jacksonville Jaguars, and they will wrap up the season in Miami to face the Dolphins.
I don't really want to go Miami for playoff spots on the line there.
Especially the way you guys play in Miami. Even back in the Brady days, you guys were terrible in Miami. You guys were not good at Miami.
No. The one time I remember we actually beat up Miami was 2 years ago. The one game we had Antonio Brown, we won 42-3 or whatever. Only time I feel like we played well in Miami. But yeah, looking at the schedule, I do think this team can win 9 to 10 games. I really do. I'm like, it's favorable. Look, I don't know if we're going to be able to beat the Bills. The week 14 bye really worries me because when you get past, that worries me a lot.
If we don't get week 1, we will get the Bama. Well, yeah, I think we'll definitely get the Bama quarterback matchup in week 18. I think that'll probably definitely happen.
Yeah, with the playoff spot on the line, maybe. That could be a fun one. But actually, because I didn't talk about before the Tom Brady return, I'm with you. I don't think Brady should be booed. I think you should be banned that night. Gronk, I could see it the way he kind of left, but look, again, you can kind of look at what Brady could have kind of cried his way out of town the last few years if he really knew he didn't want to be here, but he didn't. He played through it. He played through his contract, which is all you could ask for. He kept everything out of the drama. He didn't do any of that. So again, I will never boo Brady. I'm happy he's having success in Tampa. Look, I love him being in New England still. It's a game I really want to go to. I can't imagine the ticket prices.
God! It'd probably be like $500 just to sit in the upper deck, sit on the top at the top of the stadium.
Yeah, and at that point, I'd probably rather watch it on TV. So actually get a good view of Tom Brady. But yeah, but look, it's a schedule. Again, Houston's always kind of been a thorn in our side when we go there. That's another team I would.
Yeah, but you could potentially be facing Tyrod Taylor or Davis Mills. I mean, Deshaun Watson might not even play that game.
Yeah, so I'm hoping we can knock them off this year. But again, I look at the schedule. I think they could win 9 to 10 games. I really do. They had, they had Herbert all messed up and confused. But again, I think part of that was Anthony Lynn's game plan to come into the game. So I don't think they're going to beat them 42-0 this year. Jacksonville at home. I forgot we were playing Jacksonville. Trevor Lawrence, Bill Belichick, with all the success he's had against rookie quarterbacks. Trevor Lawrence, obviously we haven't seen him play an NFL game yet. But again, everyone says he's, one of the best QB prospects of all time coming to the draft. How does he do the first time he gets to meet Bill Belichick's defense? So it'll be, it's definitely kind of a favorable. It's weird that we're not facing some of these top tier teams this year. It really is a different feel, but it's crazy too. Only 2 4:30 games. We have one Monday and one Sunday night game. Like, it's really weird. But yeah, I do think it's a team that they have a favorable chance. That bye just really scared me week 14.
Yeah, I'll go through the schedule, and we'll do what we'll do next week is we'll go through the Giants and Pats schedules. We'll do our win-loss for each team. So I'll go through it next week and make a judgment on how I think the Patriots are going to do. Because I've only seen it once, so I want to go through it and just see how the Patriots are going to do. So it'll be interesting though to see how they do. I mean, but I thought maybe around 9. I said 9, 8, 10, and 7. That's what I was thinking too.
Yeah, I'm right around there with you. 8, 9, 10, maybe. But. Yeah, they should be better. I just don't really know with all these offensive upgrades. Well, with the somewhat upgrades, I know it's still not great. How does it go? So it's like for me, I'm still kind of it depends on Cam and Mac Jones and the switch. So I could see it possibly. I think the schedule kind of, opponents wise favors up well for them.
Yeah, so we'll see what happens there. But the Giants, they had some leaks too on their schedule. We're going to get to those, and obviously we know about Week 1, 4:25 against Denver. I don't know times for the Giants yet. I just know opponents for some of these leaks. Week 2, I heard Thursday Night Football, and this isn't outside of the Broncos. This isn't official, but Week 2 I heard Thursday Night Football at Washington, and then the rest of the home schedule. Week 3 against the Falcons, Week 6 against the Rams, Week 7 against the Panthers, Week 9 against the Raiders. Week 12 against the Eagles, Week 15 against the Cowboys, and they wrap up against Washington in a Week 18. So, and I'm hearing that Tampa and Kansas City are going to be primetime games, and all those games are going to be brutal games for the Giants. So, their games on the road against obviously the games are on the road against those are 2 road games. So the rest of the road games, so the 6 road games against the 3 NFC East teams, the road games against the Saints and the Saints, the road game against the Bears, and the road game against the Dolphins, the road game against and the Chargers and the Chargers we don't know yet. So 6 of the games we don't know yet. 10 we know. 10 according to if this Daily News report is accurate, we know where 10 of the games are right now.
Yeah, for the Giants, it's a nice home schedule. It's definitely a team this year that, again, they're right there to win the NFC title. To win the NFC East. Not the title yet in the NFC, but again, they're starting to get there. But again, if it's Week 1 Denver, that's a very interesting matchup because you got Von Miller coming back again. Who knows who's playing quarterback for the Broncos at the moment? Drew Lock or Aaron Rodgers. You get Saquon Barkley back in action. For the first time. Kenny Golladay playing. So. First time you get to see all the Giant weapons out there or new additions. You get Barkley back. So, it should be interesting. Again, the Giants, the KC Tampa game. Again, your defense could keep you guys in games. So I'll be interested when you guys play KC. How can you guys slow? Because you guys have the secondary to slow them down. Do you guys have the pass rush to get after Mahomes? I think, could be the tough part of trying to slow down that offense.
Yeah. I mean, it's tough to tell. It's tough to predict what's going to happen this early in the season. But I always do like to do the win-loss thing. I'm thinking I've went through with the Giants right now. I'm saying 9-8. I know that does not make Jace happy. Jace wishes I said 12-5 or 11-6. Yeah. But realistically, I'm going to say 9-8. Looking through the schedule.
17-0.
And on John though that Jace will pick the Giants all 17 times. Yeah. It doesn't matter if they're playing the Buccaneers. It doesn't matter if they're playing the Bucs and the Chiefs on the road. Jace will pick the Giants every time. Jace, the team has went 6-10 and has went 4-12. So they've had a combined record of 10-22 the last 2 years. But Jace Garcia has picked the Giants every single time. Every time.
Yeah. Hey, the confident fan. What can you say? He's a confident fan.
Yes.
Hey, I think the Giants this year could get 9-8, 10-7. I think possible again. Yeah, it's early. Literally, I think the schedule is 4 months. I think it's 4 months from today is actually Week 1. I think it's September 12th. So it's it's actually
4 months.
Yeah.
From today.
So
wow.
we're like we still have like a third of the year here to wait. So yeah, so much can happen between now and then. So Yeah, with the NFC East, again, it's wide open. It really is between them and Washington, Dallas. So they, I could see 9 or 10 wins, and that could get them that division again this year.
Oh yeah, I think it's with the 17th game. I thought it was maybe a 9-win division with 16, but with 17, I think it's 9-10 wins this division, and anybody could win it. Even the Eagles, anybody could win this division. So it's a 9. I think it's going to take. I think it's going to be 9 or 10 wins. The team that wins the NFC East, because assuming Aaron Rodgers is still in Green Bay, there's no Packers, there's no Buccaneers, and it's not as brutal. It's not the NFC West. So. Oh yeah, it's the worst division in the NFC. So I wouldn't be surprised if a team with 9 or 10 wins the division.
Absolutely, all those teams are kind of somewhat rebuilding. Like the Giants are starting to get past that step, and with that division, it's very easily you can win 9-10 games. You do not have that Tampa you're saying Green Bay with the Rodgers, and you don't have to go through the NFC West, which is a gauntlet. So. Yeah, it's favorable if you can win 8 or 9 games. You should have a good chance to win that division.
Absolutely. So to wrap up, we're going to go over our top 5 games that we want to see this year. And my top 5 are Packers at the Chiefs. You got Mahomes and Rodgers. Buffalo and Tampa Bay, because that could be a potential Super Bowl matchup. And I heard a leak that might be a Week 14 game between those two teams. So with Josh Allen and Tom Brady. Number 3, I'm going to go with the Buccaneers and the Rams. This is probably going to be my prediction for the NFC Championship game. You got Matthew Stafford with the Rams, and you got Tom Brady going to LA to play the Rams. The 4th is an obvious one. Brady going to play the Patriots. Obviously, everybody's going to want to see that game. It's not my number 1 because it's an interconference game, and I think the Buccaneers win the game. But I think everybody's going to want to see that game. Brady go up against the Patriots for the 20 years he's been in Foxborough. Even it's even better that's in Foxborough because he's going back to Foxborough. And then the last game is that Giants-Eagles, whatever the first game is, Giants-Eagles, seeing what the Eagles did last year, intentionally losing a football game so the Giants wouldn't make the playoffs. It's gonna be personal. That game's gonna be personal. Joe Judge wants to see the Eagles, and he wants to beat the Eagles in that first game. I know we shouldn't be making excuses because if Evan Ingram catches that ball in Philadelphia, they're in the playoffs. But let me tell you something: Joe Judge wants to beat the Eagles. So I'm excited for the Giants and Eagles playing that first game. I'm really excited for that one.
Yeah, either that and they probably stole Devontae Smith from you guys too.
Of course they did. Of course they did, and they purposely did that too. So yeah.
Oh yeah. I forgot about that. That should be a fun one. I'm actually very. I didn't even think about that one, but. My top 5, obviously, number 1, New England versus Tampa Bay. I think,
of course, as a Patriots fan, yes. Yeah.
Look, I think Tampa Bay is going to beat them, but Bill Belichick is going to have them ready to play. That team's going to play, come out and play well too that night.
Oh yeah,
they'd love to knock off Tom Brady in his homecoming. So
yes.
That's for me number 1. Number 2, hopefully Aaron Rodgers in Green Bay jersey when they face against Patrick Mahomes. Look, we probably got robbed of that Super Bowl game last year. We got robbed. We got robbed of that game in the year before too. So we keep getting robbed of that matchup. Yeah. So it sounds like right now we may get robbed of it a third time. But actually, if he goes to Denver, we get it twice a year. So possibly could see it twice a year. But yeah, right now Green Bay, KC, that would be an absolute shootout. That'd be fun to watch. I have number 3, the rematch of the AFC title game from last year. I think Buffalo's improved a bit. I think it's going to be a better game. I think it's another shootout. I think Buffalo can keep it closer than they did last time. I'm looking forward to seeing that game again. Again, I think that could be a rivalry here that turns into like the Patriots-Colts, where it's every year those two teams seem like they're facing off in the AFC title game while those two quarterbacks are there. Number 4 for me is Buffalo versus Tampa Bay. Brady has had a ton of success against the Buffalo Bills. I think he's lost like 4 times in 20 years or something. He's like 42-40 or 42-4. He's been great. The Bills now are a good team. Can the Bills finally knock off Tom Brady? That should be another shootout. And number 5, I'm looking forward to Cleveland and Pittsburgh. Look, this is always, it's been a division rival. The Browns are finally something again. The Browns blew them out in that in the Super Wild Card weekend. Pittsburgh's angry about that, ready to go. Again, those two matchups should be a really, really fun one to watch. It's good to see those two teams playing well and kind of, spark that rivalry again. So I'm excited to watch those two games this year.
Yeah, it should be interesting. 8 o'clock tonight, the NFL schedule gets released. So it's always one of my favorite days of the year when the schedule gets released. You can plan out your fall. I always love when the NFL schedule gets released. So 8 o'clock tonight, it'll be official. The schedule for the entire league gets released. But we got COVID issues in Major League Baseball, and the Red Sox continue to stay hot. But before that, we got a promo from Clovercrest Media.
Looking for a casual baseball podcast to listen to? Well, Baseball with the Bard, presented by Clovercrest Media, has just what you're looking for. Tyler Bard and Noah Cross cover a wide range of happenings in the MLB and then dive into a deep focus on the Red Sox and Yankees. Join us every Sunday at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time for your weekly dose of Baseball with the Bard.
Thank you, Tyler and Noah. That is Baseball with the Bard every Sunday at 11 o'clock, so make sure you check that out. But we still got COVID issues in Major League Baseball. Fernando Tatis tested positive for COVID-19 yesterday, and this just tells everyone that this virus is still out there. It's still out there. We have not beaten the pandemic yet. It is still out there, and you can still get this. And now Tatis is going to be out. Going to be placed on the IL again. I think he's going to be out for at least a couple weeks for the Padres.
Yeah. Now I heard too. It sounds like he was vaccinated too. So. And I know even with the vaccine, you're still not 100% immune from it. I think it's like 95. So, it's still that chance, but yeah, obviously it's still here. It really hasn't wreaked havoc lately, but yeah, kind of losing Tatis here. It's been a Padres team that's really struggled outside the Dodgers. So yeah, hopefully he can bounce back soon. Sounds like he's asymptomatic, which is great to hear. So, hopefully he can get back as soon as possible.
And as you said, when you're vaccinated, you're not immune to the virus, and that the same thing happened to two Yankee coaches, Phil Nevin and Reggie. I think it's their first base coach, Reggie Willis, both tested positive for COVID-19. So it just shows you, even though you're vaccinated, you still got to wear your mask. You still got to be careful. It does not mean you're not immune to the virus.
Yeah, it doesn't. And, the Yankees were one of those teams that were 85% vaccinated. So, lately they haven't wore their mask and any of that because, they don't, they kind of had the guidelines. But, you saw everybody yesterday with the mask on, which, you got to do. Yeah, it's unfortunate. We all want this to end, but it does still show that, we still got a little ways to go here till, we can kind of get back to normal life as we know it. But yeah, we're getting close, and sounds like Willis and Nevin are both asymptomatic as well. So, which is good to know.
All right, we got breaking news. I saw in a comment. I don't know if this is true or not. Rusty Hardin expects criminal indictment of Deshaun Watson in following weeks as he's hired Alan Dershowitz and Jose Baez, who defended Casey Anthony as his attorney. We'll see what happens there. We'll obviously get to that when it comes in a couple weeks, but we'll see what ends up happening there. But circling back to baseball, we'll get to the Yankees, and the Yankees have been red hot recently. They've been red hot. They swept. They won 2 out of 3 over the Nationals. They won 2 out of 3 over the Astros. Just really the one concern with the Yankees has, I think, in some of these games, especially the Astros game, especially the game against the the 2 games against the Nationals, 2 of the games against the Nationals. I think they really miss Zach Britton now because their bullpen has not been as good. They gave up the lead against the Astros. They had a lead after 7 innings against the Astros. They had a 2-0 lead, gave up a home run to Schwarber in the game on Sundays, and then it was 3-3 in the 8th inning, and they gave up a ton of runs in the 8th inning on Friday night. So the bullpen has been a little bit of a concern, but Giancarlo Stanton has been red hot. He's been hitting the ball well, and the pitching has been better. Kluber, Herman, Cole obviously has been great, and even Montgomery was good last night. So the starting pitching has stepped up. Bats are up and down. Bullpen has not been as good, but the starting pitching has been really good. Has been really good right now for the Yankees.
Yeah, it has been. Herman since coming back up from the alternate site, that changeup's been really, really working for him. He's been pitching really well. Montgomery, looked good last night. Gave up the big home to Mike Zedino, but other than that, this rotation, Kluber, that circle weeks ago against the Tigers, he looked like himself from 5 years ago as a Cy Young winner. So, the bats have kind of stalled here. The pitching's been good, and it's one of those things like at some point you expect the bats to kind of wake up here, and at some point too you kind of got to expect the staff, because I worry about Tyone and like a Kluber and Herman where they didn't pitch all of last year, and Tyone Kluber hasn't pitched in 2 years. It's one of those things where when they get to that 100 pitching mark here, do they hit the wall and do they start struggling? So, you kind of hope for this staff to keep going as good as it can right now. But, it's been nice. And then, look, in that bullpen too, Lucas Licky has really been solid. He's turned into a weapon right now. He's a guy that even Boone's kind of turned to in a big moment, and he's pitched well, and hopefully Bryant comes back. It sounds like maybe around Memorial Day, so another couple of weeks until he comes back. But look, and then with Stan, it's been great, whatever because this is the thing about the strikeouts too, which, drives me crazy. He hits the ball so hard that even if it's a ground ball and you just put it in play, you see most of the time the fielders have trouble fielding it because it's hit so hard. And, that's the thing. Like, they bobble it and they rush a throw and he gets on. Like, that's another thing. So, Stan's been on fire. Hopefully Judge can get it going. I'd like his pitch hit at bat on Sunday. Didn't chase, got a walk, which I'm fine with. So, hopefully at some point the bats start to heat up. Gary Sanchez last night when that home run, he took away that giant leg kick. Where I'm happy he does. I hate when guys have that giant leg kick.
Yesterday was probably a game Joe Aguirre loved because Gary Sanchez had the home run and then he threw Austin Meadows out threw Austin Meadows out going to second base. So that must have been a game that Joe Aguirre really, really liked.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, look, Gary, too, called the time. He's getting quick pitch. Next one takes it to the seat. So I'm hoping he gets rid of that leg kick because I hate when guys have it that big or that big of a leg kick. So hopefully that can spark Sanchez here. I'm cheering for the guy, but he's got to get it going at some point. And hopefully that was a one.
Absolutely. And we look at things that ahead for the Yankees. They got the Rays tonight with Garrett Cole pitching against McHugh. Right. You got Tyone going against Hill. And then you got the 3-game series against the Orioles. You got Kluber, you got Herman, you got Montgomery. I think the Yankees out of these 5 games, I think they go 4-1.
They should, but the Rays still worry me. I think they should be able to get tonight, but at some point you have to it's a Ray team that has absolutely stepped on you the last year and a half. Like, you got to at some point try to fight to get up. Last night's a good start. Now you got Cole tonight. Again, I feel good. They should be able to beat McHugh, but you got Rays and then you got the O's again. They should be able to sweep the O's. They really should. And talking about the O's, actually, Matt Harvey got rocked today. Unfortunately,
wow. His return to Citi Field.
His return. So, look, they should sweep the Orioles. So this road trip, and then Texas next week. Like, you can get by this series and at least win this series. You should really feel confident going to Baltimore and Texas. Those are 2 teams that are really not playing well right now.
Oh, absolutely. And I think this is where this team continues to get more wins and get closer to the Red Sox. Because the Red Sox, they got a series with the A's, and we'll get to them, but they got a series with the A's. So just keep winning those games and keep getting closer to the Red Sox.
Definitely, the Red Sox schedule, I know we'll talk about in a minute, but it's starting to get tougher. So this is your time right here to take advantage of that and make up some games here.
Absolutely. And now getting to the Red Sox right now 22-15. They've lost 2 in a row. Maybe coming down to earth a little bit, but we said that last week, and then they won. Then they swept the Orioles. No, just with you. They won 3 out of 4 of the Orioles, and they beat the Tigers. So they won 4 in a row. So I still think this Red Sox team, as I've said, I think their offense is good. I think they got a pretty good bullpen with Matt Barnes. I just think the pitching is going to be the question mark. Is it going to be able to hold up? And even the lineup, our guys outside of the big three hitters, Bogarts, Devers, and Benintendi, are they going to hold up?
Yeah, that's the thing. They're worried about Erod right now, his command. Again, he's going tonight. We'll see. But, yeah, it's the pitching. Pivetta, again, pitched well the other night. The starting rotation's been good. I think they're second right now in the AL, owned behind the A's for combined innings from their starting pitching. So yeah, they've done well. It's Erod going tonight. Evaldi went last night in the loss, but yeah, if they keep kind of getting solid pitching from them, they should be able to kind of keep competing in this division for a playoff spot. It's the bullpen. They don't really have Josh Taylor and Darwin Hernandez. They're two lefties. They can't trust in a big moment right now. And Darwinson blew it last night. Taylor wasn't great. Hasn't been great all year. They put him in a big spot. I think it was Sunday afternoon. They still won the game Sunday, but I think he came in, gave up a run or two, but they hung on for the win.
Yeah, so we'll see what ends up happening there. This week they got Oakland. I think Oakland wins 2 out of 3 against them because they won last night, and then they got the Angels for a 3-game series, and I think they take 2. I think they got Pivetta going on Friday. I think they win that game. They got Perez going on Saturday. I think they'll lose that one. I think with Evaldi pitching on Sunday, I think they win that one. So I think they take 2 out of 3 over the Angels. So I think in their next, I think they go 3-2 in their next 5.
Yeah, I totally see that. I can see that happening. Again, right now the Red Sox have the 2 best records in all baseball. I think they do bounce back tonight because they do have the A's have former Yankee first rounder James Caprilarian. I think pronounced. He's making his debut. So again, I think they should be able to knock him off tonight. I do see with Manaea going tomorrow night. I think they should be able to knock them off. And with the Angels, I think they should be able to win. At least 2 out of 3 there. So yeah, I think again 3-2 homestand actually no, I have them winning. Yeah, no, going 3-3. Yeah, or 3-2 against. They're going 3-2 in these next 5. I do have them. I think they'll lose. I think they'll beat the A's, or the A's will win 2 out of 3, and I think they knock off the Angels and get 2 out of 3 there.
Gotcha. So before we wrap up baseball, I wanted to ask you this: with the no-hitter, we had 2 no-hitters last week. We had John Means of the Orioles, and we had Wade Miley of the Reds. One you're not really surprised to because John Means is really becoming one of the top pitchers in the game. Wade Miley, he's kind of always been an average pitcher in the league, so I'm a little bit surprised at that. Why are we having so many no-hitters so far? We already have 4.
Yeah, which is insane. But I think it's a lot to do with these home run, with the approaches. Guys don't really care about striking out. And the walk rates and hit by pitches are way up. So I think, guys aren't afraid to kind of dive into pitches if it's close. So I think that's a big reason why guys aren't trying to get base hits anymore. It's about the home run ball. And if you can keep it on the park, you have a good chance to win that game. That's kind of been look. There's been 32 no-hitters since our last perfect game at Felix Hernandez. Back 8 years ago. There's been over 300 no-hitters at 23 perfect games. But the no-hitters are becoming a weekly thing. Which look, no-hitters are always a cool thing. I always will turn on at the 8th, 9th inning, 7th, 8th. Or usually 8th inning when there's a no-hitter, and I'll watch to see if the guy gets it or not because it's still a cool thing to see. But it's becoming one of those things. And look at the Indians; they were no-hit twice in 18 days. I think it's like they're the first team since like 1903 or something to have that happen. I think it was like the Cubs back in 1903. I believe I read.
Wow.
So it's just I think with the strikeouts. Guys just want to always hit home runs. I just think that's part of the issue. Batting averages, it's like it hasn't been, the average is like been since like the first year, since it's been so bad, like since like the 60s or 50s.
That's the way baseball is now.
Yeah,
They feel, analytics feel that if you strike out with no one on, it's the same thing as grounding out or flying out. They don't care about the out. They don't care. It's still an out. A strikeout is still an out to them. So they don't care. When I played baseball, if you struck out, that was bad. You'd rather, even if there was nobody on base, you'd rather make contact than strike out. Striking out was the worst thing you could do when I played baseball. But now, striking out is nothing. It's nothing. It's nothing now. It's just like a normal out now. That's how it is.
Yeah. Which is ridiculous.
Your dad coaching probably told you guys to choke up on the bat when did your dad coach baseball?
Yeah, my
dad
coached me.
Was he did he stress choking up on the bat with 2 strikes?
Yeah. I could never put the ball in play. I was so bad. But I dropped my hands, but I could never fix that. But yeah, it was always I'd always get annoyed when I struck out. It was just because especially in Little League, where
especially striking out looking was the worst.
Striking out looking the worst. But like even in Little League, it's like guys are major league. You put the ball in play down to Little League, the major leagues. You just good things happen. Even in the major leagues, you get like a little dribbler down the line. You could beat that out. Little League, guys aren't going to make the perfect throw every time. Like that's why it's so annoying to me, because it's like you put the ball in play, good things happen. I've always I've heard that. It's good things happen when you put the ball in play, but again, it doesn't matter, which is ridiculous. And then I know we're not talking about analytics at the moment, but I heard that these analytic people don't call that they don't believe in hot and cold, which I think is the most ridiculous thing in baseball. But again, that's another story for another day. I think it's ridiculous, but yeah, it just I don't get I know they're professional guys, so I know like they're not going to go slam their helmet or throw their bat when they strike out, but still, it's got to be a frustrating thing to strike out. Like Judge this weekend struck out like 7 straight times. Like, I don't know. I just don't like this game of baseball.
It's a new game, and I think that's the way it's trending. Just hitting home runs and not and not going out making contact. They feel like a ground out is the same thing as a strikeout. That's the way it is now.
It's ridiculous, Again, that's not buying you many fans at all. It's not. They're trying to get more fans in the game, but that's not the way to go.
Yep, exactly. Because in a way, strikeouts are kind of boring. It's kind of boring. Strikeouts are boring. At least you put the ball in play. You see, even if it's a defensive play, you see a guy make a great catch. It's exciting. Strikeouts are boring. And if they think that just hitting home runs is going to make the game change, it's not.
No, it's not. I can't remember what game it was, but it was last week. Maybe you can remember. The first 9 guys on both sides, the first 9 outs of the game, they were all strikeouts. It's like, how is that fun? Like, how does that make the game? I think the O's were a part of it, but I don't remember who they faced.
Yeah.
I want to say it was maybe the O's, but it's like, why do I want to watch that game if the guys are going to strike out? Maybe it was Garrett Cole on the mound. Sure, but like, I don't. It's just boring.
Yeah, exactly. So we're going to wrap up the show with 2 topics really quickly. First, we're going to talk about Medina Spirit and the Kentucky Derby and how he tested positive for a drug test. Trainer Bob Baffert gets suspended, but he gets to race in the Derby. You think that's right? In the Preakness, you think that's right?
It's very interesting.
Yeah.
He didn't pass the drug test, but now he got what they call it in.
Yeah.
Now, I heard because it was double amount of the legal amount. Did you hear his excuse on that? It was kind of funny about the groom peeing.
Oh, really?
He said a groom peed on the hay, and he had cough syrup. So it was from the cough syrup because Medina Spirit started eating the hay.
Oh, wow.
I was kind of laughing. I was like, you got to come up with a better excuse than that. But, if he was testing positive, I don't think he should be able to. Look, and it's not the horse's fault either. That's the thing, though. Like, it's not the horse that, an athlete can kind of have the option to say yes or no to the thing, but a horse can't do that. So for the horse, I feel like it's not his fault. you can't blame him. You have to blame the adults running the thing.
Exactly, like Bob Baffert, the trainer,
Yeah, and it's not the first time he's had a run-in either. It's like the fifth horse.
Oh, yeah. I think it's 5 horses that tested positive for steroids, yes.
Yeah. So, again, I'm happy the horse is going to race, but, because it's not Medina Spirit's fault, but, if he's cheating, but if the adults are cheating this, then, it's not fair to the rest of the horses. So
I know
it's weird. It's a
weird situation. It's a weird situation.
Weird. Yeah,
it's a really weird situation. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see what Medina Spirit does on Saturday in the Preakness. But I really don't want to see. I mean, unfortunately, I don't want to see him win the Triple Crown because I don't want Bob Baffert to be the trainer of a horse that wins the Triple Crown.
Yeah, especially if and I've like with Bob Baffert's done. Besides all the cheating, he's done an incredible job horse training when their horses aren't steroids, but especially now it's like look, it's great when a horse is up for the Triple Crown, but when it's already he's kind of had to go through something like this, Bob Baffert kind of puts him in that spot. It's tough because then it just brings up more controversy, and horse racing really doesn't need that.
Yeah, exactly. This is bad for the sport. It's bad for the sport. Ratings will probably be lower because of all this controversy because they really didn't have a legitimate Kentucky Derby winner. So I think it's bad for horse racing. And at the end of the day, it's bad for the sport.
Totally. I totally agree. It is. It's bad for the sport.
Absolutely. So we'll wrap up talking about the Rangers. And today they fired David Quinn as their head coach. Last week they fired John Davidson as the president. They fired their general manager as well. I think it's weird I'm a casual Ranger fan. You're probably a bigger Ranger fan than me, but I think it's weird they're making these changes when the team is kind of building with Artemi Panarin, with Mika Zibanejad, with Alexei Lafreniere. That's his name, right?
Yeah, Lafreniere. Yeah.
Yeah, Alexei Lafreniere. Why are they making all these changes with this young core?
Well, one, James Dolan, which.
And think about him is he stayed away from the hockey side. He's very involved in the basketball side, but he stayed away from the hockey side for years.
Yeah, now it sounds like he was the one here that fired them both, but it sounds like it was a toughness thing, and I wonder if it's all just after the Tom Wilson incident and the Rangers not really responding Monday night. And look, none of those Rangers that were on the ice were guys that do get raw. Now, they should have gone after him no matter what.
Yeah, but they did go after the Capitals. They got in the fight the night after on Wednesday night.
Yeah, but I think he wanted a response Monday night.
He wanted a response on Monday night.
And that's what I'm thinking. And he didn't get that. So because he made it sound like it was a toughness thing, which is I get, but I just you kind of set your rebuild back here, but then young in hockey, Jason's comment, young hockey
isn't that young.
Isn't that young? You
gotta come and make an impact off the bat. They cleaned house. Only their goalie coach is returning. Yeah. Young. Yeah. I'm not the biggest hockey guy. You and Jace are bigger hockey guys than me, but he probably makes a point. Young in hockey isn't that young. And the Rangers, they didn't make I didn't expect them to make the playoffs this year, but they didn't make the playoffs and they made changes. So we'll see where they go from here.
Yeah, and I think it's that too. And then the Islanders, 13-1, the last two big games before the play, trying to get the playoff push, and the Islanders absolutely just. And
they don't like losing to the Islanders because the Islanders are kind of the little brother in New York, and they don't really like. And recently, they've been the team. I know they play on Long Island; they're not New York City's team, but they've been the team in New York because they got to the conference finals last year, and they're going to be in the playoffs this year.
Yeah, they bullied them, and they've taken advantage of the last few years, and. Dolan does not want that. No Ranger fan wants that. And the David Quinn one, too, it sounds like, too, they want a guy that can take them the next step. They don't think that David Quinn's that guy. The guy I'm hearing, former Ranger coach John Tortorella. It sounds like
bring back Tortorella. Yeah. Bring back John Tortorella. I miss him. I miss John Tortorella. Man, he was great with the media. He was so real with the media. Bring back John Tortorella. That would be a nice one. Bring him back. Would you want Tortorella back?
Oh yeah, I was mad when he left, or they went part of ways, whatever. I was not happy with the Rangers after that. But I think he coached Panarin too for a year or two in Columbus. So He's got that kind of relationship with him, but because I've heard too, I heard it from one, so I'm not, but it was a Ranger reporter kind of saying that Panarin wasn't the biggest fan of David Quinn's wasn't the biggest fan of his gameplay, kind of his schemes. It sounds like most of the veteran guys weren't. So I think that's why. And I think because Adam Fox kind of turned into one of the top defenders in the league this year, Alexis Lafreniere really played well the second half.
Yeah, and that's the thing. They kind of, if you're good on defense and you could score goals, you really should be in the playoffs.
Yeah. That was a tough division. The Penguins, the Blues.
Penguins. The way they did it too. You just played all the division teams as well.
Yeah, it was really, really tough this year. And I when it came out like that, I'm like, they're probably going to finish 5th. I didn't see them being any better than those teams. And, they just got off to a ton of slow starts. And, again, it just sounded like most of the veterans just were not on kind of on David Quinn's same page here, but they liked him and they kind of kept him because of what he was doing for the younger guys. And they feel like they've taken that step now where they can kind of go, okay, we can get rid of Quinn. Now we can go get a veteran guy here and we can get back to, contending in the Eastern Conference.
Yeah. We'll see what ends up happening. We'll see what the Rangers hire. We'll see what happens there. But that's going to wrap it up this week on Sports Talk with R&J. For Jace Garcia, who did a great job, and for Justin D'Onofrio, I'm Steve Risser. We'll be back next week talking about the NBA play-in tournament and any NFL or MLB news that comes our way. Have a great weekend, everyone.
Manning lobs it. Boris alone. Touchdown, New York. It's off to Leonard. Defended by Simmons. Is this the dagger?
High fly ball, right field. Grossman back, track, wall, see ya, into the second deck. A grand slam the other way for Aaron Judge, and the Yankees are pouring it on.
For the latest news throughout the sports world, tune in to Sports Talk with R&J every Wednesday at 1 p.m.